right, Daniel, thank you so much. Well, high-yield savings accounts offer the best of both worlds. Easy access to your money combined with a rate of return that's competitive for deposit accounts.
And that makes these type of accounts a great place to set aside funds for emergencies or other short-term financial goals. But what should you be looking for when you open one of these accounts?
And joining us now is financial consultant Neil Brown with some tips for us this morning. Neil, thank you so much for stopping by.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, we want to talk really quickly about those pros and cons of having a high-yield savings account. So what should we know before we open one?
I guess the main thing is you could get 5% interest rate versus an average of about 0.5% interest rate, so a lot more money on your savings.
Ooh, okay. So is that kind of like how this works? That's what we're obviously aiming for. That's the #1 goal. So how do you kind of look for that?
A good place to look is bankrate.com or nerdwallet.com. They'll give you a lot of resources on there. I guess some of the negatives you're looking at are negatives and positives. They're online mostly. So it depends upon how technologically competent you are in doing that.
Now, I also want to talk about the difference between a high-yield savings account and a traditional savings account, because we always hear about savings account, but not necessarily high-yield saving account. So can you tell us a little bit more about the difference between the two?
Yeah, typically the high-yield savings account is going to limit your number of withdrawals, so maybe limited to 6 per month. So if you're using it a lot back and forth, you want to be careful on that because there could be some penalties in losing the interest that you're accumulating. Just make sure they're both FDIC insured and go for the highest yield if they are.
That's something too important. I mean, I know you kind of offered us kind of an example over here. So $10,000 starting balance. Here are kind of those examples. Can you break down what we're seeing here on your screen, that traditional savings account versus the high yield savings account?
Yeah, when you think about it, if you're getting 0.5% a year on a $10,000, you're collecting $50 of interest. But if you're getting 5% a year, you're collecting $500 of interest. Now, over 1 year, that's a $450 difference, but if you compound it over 5 years, you're looking at over $2,000 worth of differences.
Wow. Now, okay, so let's talk about timing, because really with this, timing is everything. So when is the best time to take advantage of a high-yield savings account?
Obviously, when you have the money to do it. So, I mean, if you've got, it's not going to make a big difference if you're talking a couple $100s, but if you're talking $10,000, you are looking at a big number. The other thing to think about is, as rates start to drop, if the Federal Reserve reduces that, you might want to be looking at some type of longer term, like a CD or a government bond, to start locking in the rates versus riding the yields down.
So you can kind of decide, you think it really is best to see if they should get a high yield savings account or a CD? Right?
Absolutely. It's going to depend upon your goals. If you got short-term goals, go with a high yield savings account. If you're thinking 2, 3, 4 years, you might start looking at some type of lock, whether it's a government bond or a CD.
Yeah, such good information there. All right, so what is the biggest takeaway for all of our viewers at home when it comes to high yield savings accounts?
I think the biggest thing to me is a little bit of money adds up over a long period of time, and if you can kind of get a little bit more each month, each year, it makes a difference in the long run.
Especially with our tax returns.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good place to start putting tax refund money if you're getting some.
And okay, so what is I would ask the minimum amount of money for a high yield savings account?
I would think probably in the $5,000 range.
Okay.
You know, again, smaller numbers, it's not going to make a lot of difference.
But it will in the long run.
In the long run,
In
absolutely.
the long run, it will. Neil, thank you so much for stopping by this morning. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And of course, we are going to put this on our website, WLTX.com, as well as our YouTube page, so you can always refer back to all of this information before you open up that account.
Yes, because we are trying to have more money in 2024. So thank you so much, Neil. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, friends, on the other side of this quick